Well, hey guys, and welcome back to this lecture. We are going to talk about, it's one of the most important things when you're preparing for a mix, and it actually goes all the way back to the tracking process, and that's getting good sounds. If you're gonna have a good mix at the end of the day, you've got to make sure that you spend time getting good sounds. And now, one of the most dreadful things that I can think of as an artist is in the past where I've had to basically make excuses for my songs. And you may have done this too, but basically like you record a song and it's you just kind of not super happy with it, or you're self-conscious about it. And so you're constantly telling people, well, we did that only in a couple hours, or, oh, I only had this, or, yeah, I did that on Studio One Prime. I wasn't able to, and we make these excuses for why our song is not the best that it could be. And so I want to kind of try to erase that mentality from your brain and mine, and basically have this understanding that we need to, up front, at the very beginning, with what we have, do our very best to capture a great performance. And so now, this does not mean that you have to go spend thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment and gear and all of this stuff. Although there are great buys out there for lots of money that will really enhance your production capabilities. Being a professional musician or a professional producer is basically being able to produce a professional product no matter what you have. And so in this course, we've recorded a song. And I'm a pro musician, and I have pro instruments, I have pro equipment. And what I used for this course specifically was what I would refer to as beginner or intermediate equipment. I used an M-Audio producer USB microphone. I used a very inexpensive entry-level Alvarez imported acoustic guitar. It's actually very difficult to play. The action's not very good, and so basically, but you can tell just by our tracking sessions and where we are at the point in this course that we were able to really get a great sounding song with intermediate or beginner level equipment. And we used a free DAW that has limited plugins, and there's and we'll get into that later, but you have to understand that you don't have to have millions of dollars to be able to produce a professional sounding song, but you do have to have the head for it. You do have to have the willingness to put forth the effort to actually create something that is worthwhile. And that's key here. So when we're talking about getting a good mix, if we just rushed through and just that's good enough, whatever. No. I've done this. Okay, I've done this. I've rushed through sessions. That's good enough. And I get into the mix down session at the very end, and I'm like, man, that's not good enough. And so I've actually had to bring musicians back in, or myself if I was the musician, and redo those tracking sessions to capture something that was actually usable. One of the most important sayings that I was ever taught, or that an instructor of mine gave me, was this: you cannot polish a turd. And what does that mean? Well, if it's poop going in, no matter what you do to it, you can sit there and tweak it and mold it and do whatever you want, it's still going to be poop at the end of the day. It's still poop. You may have molded it and done something else with it, but it's still not good at the end of the day. So one of the most important things to getting a good mix is having great quality tracks coming in. That's something that you cannot neglect. You have to get great quality tracks. Try your hardest, do your best up front, so that when you get to the end, you actually have a fun time and an easy time creating and polishing something that is actually worthwhile. So that's one of the most important things in getting a good mix, is having good tracks up front. It goes all the way back to the tracking process. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Leave me a kind review, and I'll see you in the next lecture.